Okay, we're going to take a look at the slope of horizontal and vertical lines. Horizontal lines are like that and perfectly flat. Vertical lines like that are perfectly vertical or straight up and down. Now, one thing you can do is just flat out memorize this statement. If you see a horizontal line, the slope is 0. And every vertical line in the world is an undefined slope. So slope of 0, slope of undefined. You could just memorize that, but I don't know if you're aware of this. Students don't like to memorize things. Well, if you don't like to memorize things, I'm going to show you how you can just calculate it out. The red line you see here is a horizontal line, so you know the slope is 0 if you've memorized that. But if you don't want to memorize it, you can use rise over run and get the same answer. I'm going to travel from here to here. To get from here to here, I don't have to go up or down for my y value. My y value stays the same. So I have 0 amount of rise or fall. But to go from here to here, I have to travel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of run. Go to your calculator and do 0 divided by 5. You're going to find out we have a slope of 0. And by the way, if somebody else decided they were going to do y minus y over x minus x, y minus y, x minus x, that's 0 over 5, which your calculator will also tell you is 0. So if you don't want to memorize this statement, then go ahead and calculate it, and you're going to get the correct answer anyway. Next, we'll look at a vertical line. You could memorize that a vertical line has an undefined slope, or you can go ahead and do the calculation. So I'm going to treat it with y minus y over x minus x, but you could do rise over run if you wanted. And for my y minus y, I'm going to travel from here to here. So I'm going from a 3 to a negative 1, 3 minus a negative 1. My x values go from 2 to 2, 2 minus 2. 3 minus a negative 1 is like 3 plus 1, so that's a 4 over 0. Now you want to see something surprising? You want to see your calculator bark at you? Go 4 divided by 0 on your calculator, and it's going to say some form of error or something else that is the equivalent of your calculator barking on you. That's the calculator's way of saying you cannot divide by 0, so we are going to call this an undefined slope. So go ahead and either memorize these or go ahead and calculate them. You're going to come up with the same conclusion whether you memorize it or you calculate it. The last thing I want to look at is just to make sure that you have an intuitive feel for if a slope should be a positive result or a negative result. Now I look at this red line and I say, well, that slope's going to be positive. And I look at the blue line and I say that slope's going to be negative. I could figure it out by doing calculations, but sometimes I just want to look at it and know if it's positive or negative. So read this statement, and then I will show you how it works in action. So here we go. As I travel along the red line, I must travel from left to right, like I read a book or like I read a sentence. And as I travel from left to right, I'm headed uphill. So this is going to be a positive slope. That line is a positive slope because I'm heading uphill. But I have to travel from left to right. Whereas this line right here, as I travel from left to right, I'm heading downhill. And as I'm heading downhill, that's telling me that I have a negative slope. So you can estimate your slope values as positive or negative simply by looking at the left to right nature of your line. So when I look at these, as I go left to right, this is traveling uphill, positive slope. Traveling left to right, going uphill, positive slope. Traveling left to right, going downhill, negative slope. Easy peasy.